Matty Benedetto is going to win a championship this coming season. You heard it here first.
Lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about Matty Benedetto and Leavine Family Racing's 2019 season. We want to recap it, talk about some stuff, and I think I have to, because it's Matty Benedetto, kind of talk about what I expect from in the 21 car, or just kind of some aspects from this season. I don't know. We're not going to full in-depth preview, but maybe a little bit, just because I love Matty Benedetto so much. But before we get into that, make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I want to give a quick shout out to our partners over at NASCAR Talk America. Thank you, NASCAR Talk America, for being such great partners, and let's get into today's video. So Matty Benedetto is a driver that up until this season a lot of people viewed as a driver who gets the most out of his equipment and needs to be in a better ride. Well, at the time it didn't appear that Leavine Family Racing was the big shot that would give him a platform in order to get to a better ride. It really ended up being that. And he actually, he did a lot better than most people think. Do keep in mind, yes, we did know about the Joe Gibbs alliance and all of that, and we knew that would obviously bring improvements to their performance, but it didn't really at the beginning really seem like it made that huge of a difference. Matty Benedetto would finish 22nd in the point standings, notably in front of Ricky Stenhouse, who we talked about last episode. Had an average finish of 18.3, which is much improved over last season, up 10 positions. Last year was a 28, this year an 18, so 10 years. Also, this was on part of Jimmy Johnson, who I know had a down year and all, but was still with Hendrick Motorsports. Far better equipment than that of Leavine Family Racing this year. He also had 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s, having career highs in every single stat. Compare that to Kane. Kane only had 1 top 5, and that top 5 was his only top 10 the entire year, and he had an average finish of 22. Now, it's slightly unfair because of that Gibbs alliance did improve the equipment, but I don't think it improved it, in an insane amount. At least not at the beginning. Something happened there in the middle. But that is what his stats looked like, which was insane. Now you see, like I said earlier, the beginning of 2018 did not look that much different from that of last year. Besides Daytona, where he led the most laps in the Daytona 500, leading 45, and really looked like the best car out there. But besides Daytona 500, he was just kind of like the same as Kasey Kahne. I think at one point he even had a worse average finish than Kasey Kahne. But then around, Sonoma, he started looking better. He got his 4th place by speed and skill. And Watkins, Glen, Sonoma, Roval, all road courses, they require skill more than really engine. Obviously you have to have a good car, but skill is more dominant at those tracks, and he finishes 4th, passing some notable names like Kevin Harvick and I believe Ryan Blaney. Then he continues to get top 5s or top 10s and top 15s. Like, really, it's not an insane stat, but that's an improvement from the beginning where he was sitting in the top 25 range, which is not a place you want to be. Then he would get another top 5 at New Hampshire, and I'm not really sure what happened. He just kind of appeared there out of nowhere, and was able to, with speed and skill, get up there. Now, obviously, the mile and a halves he wasn't really that good at, but when we go to these tracks that, was more the driver's skill over the car that they're in, you saw him thrive. It was also announced in between this time that he would be kicked out of the 95. Luckily, we would have a savior that we'll talk about in a minute, but his true highlight of the season was, I think, just a week after it was announced he'd be out of the 95. He led 93 laps at the Daytona, at Bristol, and that was obviously the most, and came just short, just a couple laps short. I think there was like an issue with the Menard or Newman, one of the two that hold people back. I think there was an issue. They almost like wrecked him or just really blocked him hard. If that didn't happen, he very well could have won in that 95 car, which is saying a lot. And they like to point it out because NBC likes their storylines. The 95 was last year's equipment compared to Denny Hamlin, who was on this year's fully optimized Joe Gibbs equipment. So that's saying a lot. That is a lot of that's a gap. That's a that's a gap in the quality of a car, but the driving talent was definitely there for Matt DiBenedetto. I mean, even Denny Hamlin did a class act and said Matt really deserved that, or he didn't really say that, but he felt bad for Matt and stuff like that. You never hear that after a win, but Denny Hamlin, he said that about Matt DiBenedetto, so kind of a class act to him. But then it was announced, I believe just a week later, that he will replace Paul Menard, who is stepping down to 21. Speaking of class acts, Paul Menard recommended that they sign Matt DiBenedetto. Obviously they did, and he would just finish off the season after Bristol, getting consistent top 15s and top 10s, and I believe another top 5, and not bad at all, especially considering the equipment he was in. Now I want to quickly get into this kind of 21 car situation for next season. It's not going to be long. I just want to point out that I feel like a lot of people forget that back in when Ryan Blaney was in that car, he made it to the round of 8 in the Wood Brothers Racing car. And Paul Menard, he did better than he did at RCR, which I would say RCR and Leavine Family Racing were kind of on par this year. And so Paul Menard definitely saw an improvement at Wood Brothers Racing. He's just, I mean, as much as you can see with Paul Menard, just consistently in the middle of the pack, but he seemed a little bit better in the 21 car. He had a couple, top 10 performances here and there, and it looked like a step up. And from what I understand, it may not be completely on par with the Penske, the 12, 22, and 2, but it seems like it's not that far off from those cars, respectively. So I do expect to see Matt DiBenedetto be up there with Ryan Blaney and Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. I think he will. I think there's a gap between the quality of the cars, but I think Matt DiBenedetto's talent will fill that gap and put him on par with those drivers. We'll have to wait and see, of course, but I don't think Wood Brothers Racing is a slouch, and it is a definite upgrade from the Leavine family team that he was at last year. Now, I don't know about the team that's coming up this year, but I think Wood Brothers Racing is definitely a step up, and who knows? There is still another Penske car. I'm not sure what number it is, but if Penske wanted to open up another car, they could. They have 3 right now, and they can open up a 4th one if they feel like Matt DiBenedetto would be a profitable move, which I think he can be. I think he could. I mean, you see a lot of fans rally around him. I think, a sponsor could see that and step in. We saw Barstool Sports step in and sponsor a couple races. So maybe we'll see that partnership continue. I'm not sure, but I think Matt DiBenedetto in that 21 car, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. That's all I got for today. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below your guys' thoughts on Matt DiBenedetto. Be sure to check out all of our partners in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.